Subscribe to Books on Toast or Netflix will shut down. I said it. I said it. Hi everybody, my name is Anuya and Books on Toast is back. What's that? You didn't even realize we were gone? So remember how 2 years ago we did this video called How to Kickstart Your Reading Habit? And we promised you that we'd do a video which has books for beginners 2 years ago. Oh, we're doing it now. Okay, we're doing it now. At least we're doing it. I am going to take you through a few books that I think are perfect for beginners. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you like them. And before all of that, I hope you subscribe to the Books on Toast channel because you know what they say, charity begins at home. Alright, so my first book for beginner is a very obvious choice. It's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Duh. I generally believe that if Harry Potter doesn't make you fall in love with books, then nothing else will. Now I know that J.K. Rowling is cancelled and the jury's still out on whether or not we should support her books. But you know what? The books are out there and she's getting rich no matter what. We may as well read a book that teaches us a thing or two about Nazism, educate ourselves, and then use that against her only, है ना? We'll be only benefiting from all that. So I think it's okay. So read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, there's no way you don't know what it's about, but in case you don't, I'll tell you. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is about an 11-year-old boy who realizes that he's gay. No, I think that's a different book. Let me do this again. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is about an 11-year-old boy whose parents tell him that they're getting divorced because of him. What? No. What's the matter? I don't know. Ignore that. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is a book in which an 11-year-old boy finds out that he's adopted. Actually, that's kind of close to maybe, you know what, just Google it. Just Google it. Book number 2 in my list of books for beginners is collected short stories by Roald Dahl. Now, I know what you're thinking. Roald Dahl is known as a children's author. And he's written some superb children's books which are all worthy of your time. But as a grown-up, if you want to read a book that is full of snackable stories that will in equal parts thrill you and hook you and entice you and also sort of make you fall in love with language, then this book is the one for you. It's superb. Just a little bit of advice, do not read it at night because some stories can be a little scary. One story in particular that I love, it's called Lamb to the Slaughter. You can find it online. So if you're like, should I buy this book, should I not buy this book? Find Lamb to the Slaughter online, read it, and you will know whether or not it's worth your while. It's a short story which has enough twists and turns to put like a Bas Mastan movie to shame. The third book that I'm going to recommend is Myth Equals Mithya by Devdutt Pattanaik. Now, Devdutt Pattanaik is someone we've interviewed and featured on this channel a lot in the past. I will not say I'm a fan of his books because I feel like I'm a crazy reader who looks for very specific things in the works that she's reading. And I think I've outgrown his style. However, I think for beginners, he's perfect. Devdutt Pattanaik writes a lot about Indian mythology and Indian cultural history. He's even written Greek mythology from an Indian perspective and it's amazing. Neil Gaiman likes it, so Now, Devdutt Pattanaik has on our channel himself said that he writes for engineers. He writes like it's a textbook. Now, Chetan Bhagat has also said he writes for engineers. The only difference between the two of them is that Devdutt Pattanaik uses spell check. The reason I chose Myth Equals Mithya is it's a very short book. It's a very easy read. He decodes Hindu mythology using that book. So for Hindus in India or even non-Hindus, there's a lot to learn from that book. And I mean, if I can read so much Greek mythology, then non-Hindus can read a little bit of Devdutt Pattanaik. I feel like it's all fascinating, interesting, the stories of the culture that we have grown up surrounded by. So yeah, that's the book I recommend, book number 3. The fourth book that I'd like to recommend is a true blue thriller. A Matter of Honor by Jeffrey Archer. Now, when I was a child, I used to read a lot of Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, and I used to love those books. And then one day, a friend of mine gave me A Matter of Honor by Jeffrey Archer, and I was like, what is this? And then 10 minutes later, my life changed. A Matter of Honor by Jeffrey Archer is the story of Adam Scott, who's, basically like an everyman, right? White dude. Young white dude. right? So he gets given sort of this letter by his father after his father dies, and after he gets that letter, like all hell basically breaks loose. Like, just he finds himself in the middle of like international espionage. Like Russians start chasing him like KGB. I found out what the KGB was because of this book, by the way, and what Swiss banks did. I mean, it's such a fun book. It is so pacily written, and it's classic Jeffrey Archer. If you have never read Jeffrey Archer or a thriller, this is the book that will get you into that genre. 101%. By the way, you must check out the interview we did with Jeffrey Archer. We will link to that here or here or here, somewhere, wherever there's space. But you must, it's such a great interview. I actually told him that Cain and Abel taught me what sex was. He was deeply uncomfortable after that. The fifth book that I'd like to recommend is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. It's a really short book, less than 100 pages, and it was never meant to be a book at all. She did it as a TEDx talk, and it became so popular that she decided to publish it, and now it's a very popular book. It's an extremely easy read, and I believe anyone and everyone should read it, whether or not you think you're a feminist, whether you're like, I'm not a feminist, whether you're like, I'm definitely not a feminist, whether you're like, I'm a penguin unicorn hybrid, whether whatever you think you are, you must read this book, because it's sort of like the book we need to survive in today's times. Okay, it puts life for women into perspective for everybody. So please read We Should All Be Feminists, because we should all be feminists. We should all be better, and books make us better. My god, I really sounded like an auntie there, didn't I? Maybe I am an auntie. I accept my auntiness. The last book that I want to recommend is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupery. Yes, I practiced that at least 10 times before I spoke about it. This book is a deeply philosophical book about a pilot who crash lands into a desert and meets a little prince. And then the little prince tells him, I went here, I went there, I met this kind of person, that kind of person. And everything is an allegory for something. And there's, you learn about vanity, you learn about existentialism. Like, there's a lot to be mined from a book that is once again less than 100 pages. So you see, I have chosen my books well. These are great books for beginners. Less than 100 pages, pack a lot in their content. And most of them you will also enjoy reading. Most of them. Most. So that's it. That was my list of books for beginners. I just want you guys to know that this is not a definitive list. And obviously, I will never recommend something I haven't read. And there are tons of lists on the internet where you can find other books to read. But if you're looking for a place to start, this is a pretty decent one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. I still don't know what it achieves, but everybody else asks for it. So I'm also going to ask for it. Just hit the like button, okay? And also share this video to your friends who you think will derive some benefit from it. Any people who are looking to read for the first time but don't know where to start. All the links to the books that we've discussed are in the description box below. So please go and buy those books if you want. And subscribe to Books on Toast. Bye.